All right, we're going to continue our conversation about the real estate sector here. Brown Harris Stevenson, it's been around for about 150 years. Its CEO has been at the helm for the last 5 years or so. She joins us now, Bess Freedman, to talk a little bit more about what we're seeing in the real estate space. And Bess, I want to pick up here where we left off with Scott over at RXR, because he did kind of mention something about multifamily housing. And we focus so much on what's going on in the office space and when it comes to commercial real estate, but we kind of forget there are still some stresses out there when it comes to multifamily properties as well.
Yeah. Hi, Romaine. First of all, it's nice to see you. And yeah, I think there are a lot of stresses out there in the residential market right now. As we know, mortgage rates, which have gone up, doubled, have had a huge impact on our housing market. And it was nice to see that Powell, he sort of skipped June. He didn't increase the Fed fund rate, which was a good thing, I think. But we'll see. I think next month we'll see an increase. But that pressure on mortgages, on the rates, have created this sort of pressure in the rental market, and buyers are on the sidelines waiting to see what will happen. And sellers are holding back and not listing their homes. So we have a supply issue. And so it hasn't been horrible, but it has been a challenging market. It has slowed down. When post-pandemic, we had this sort of historic run-up in the housing market, which was fantastic, but we're now in a much more austere environment. And it feels like people are just waiting to see. And the psychology of the consumer is different today than it was.
Yeah.
So
well, talk a little bit about that more, Bess, because I kind of feel like real estate agents, I mean, they're less business people and more psychologists or psychiatrists, if you will, for those folks who, particularly in this market, who tear their hair out, whether you're trying to buy or rent here. I mean, what do you tell them, though? Because, I mean, for folks who are looking, you can see the inventory just really isn't there, at least not to a level that would make it sort of a little bit more comfortable for them.
No, you're right. I mean, listen, real estate is a relationship business. And so we're many times working with people who are, growing their families. They just had a new baby, or they're going through a divorce and they need to find a new home, those sorts of things. So we're helping them. And people are motivated by their circumstances, not necessarily what's going on in the market. And sometimes they have to do things. But we're telling people, like first-time home buyers, if they see an opportunity right now and they see something that works for them, I would encourage them to get in there, because when rates do start to go down, you're going to have more competition and then prices will go up. So we're kind of coaxing people depending on whatever their situation is. And that's what a really good real estate agent does, is they listen to what their needs are, and they try to steer them towards what will make the most sense for them given their circumstances. Because again, the market is not there to instruct you. It is there to serve you. And we have to help people in their given circumstances.
Mm-hmm. I am curious as to what we're seeing in the actual purchase market, meaning folks who are looking to buy, how that feeds into the rental market here. What's the correlation?
Yeah, there is a big correlation right now. There is immense pressure on the rental market. The rental market has never been stronger, specifically in New York City. Prices are really high. And there's a lot of competition. We're seeing bidding wars. We're seeing this environment of chaos, because think about it. When you have buyers waiting out and saying, well, I'm not going to buy right now because rates have doubled, then they're going to rent. And then when you have sellers who say, well, I have a great lock-in rate at 2% or 2.5%, I'm not going to sell. There's incredible pressure on the rental market. So I think right now the rental market is in a really incredible place. It's very competitive. And then buyers and sellers are sort of at the standstill trying to figure out what they're going to do. Mm-hmm. There's uncertainty, which when that looms, people sort of take a minute to figure out what they want to do next.
I am curious. I mean, when we talk about your company specifically, Brown Harris Stevens, I mean, you obviously deal to a certain extent with a much higher net worth client. I am curious, at the higher end of that income spectrum, are they also feeling the pinch as well, or does it not matter to them?
Well, it's a little different. First of all, Brown Harris Stevens, yes, we did celebrate 150 years this year in business, which is fantastic. A legacy company, privately owned. But we serve all segments of the market, not just